you spend all this money to get someone into your business. Now you have to be able to, how do you recontact them again? So many business owners, oh my gosh, nothing makes me more crazier. So many business owners, they spend all this money to get people in their doors, and then they have no way to contact them again.
No. Ooh, that's better, right, babe?
Yeah. She founded an architectural concrete company.
He founded a $100 million clothing company.
She took the world by storm as a social media star.
He took the world by storm as a famous serial entrepreneur.
Together we started a business.
And had babies.
Now we're figuring out the best ways to do both.
Join us as we learn from other entrepreneurs going through the same life struggles.
As they share their life hacks about success, love, kids,
and everything in between.
It's often better to know what you don't know than to know what you know. Knowledge has a beginning but no end.
Welcome to this episode of the Pretty and Punk Podcast. My name is Dan Caldwell.
And I'm Ildiko Ferenczi.
And this is part 2 of our brick and mortar episode that I think is so important, and it has so much good information in it, especially if you have a brick and mortar business, or you know anybody that's got a brick and mortar business, or you're ever thinking about opening a brick and mortar business. You need to be listening to this. And if you're just listening to this one, you haven't heard part 1, go back and listen to part 1. It was last week. And be sure to like and subscribe to the Pretty and Punk Podcast. All the information to connect with us is in our
the
show notes below.
And do not be shy to send us those messages and review the podcast. And we are so excited to look at all those wonderful things that you say to our family, suggestions and requests, and
we share those with our kids.
Yeah,
and
that's
they
their
love
favorite part of the day. So God bless you guys, and let's jump into this episode. I'm a mom, and it takes me a lot of, I want to know, am I buying quality food? Am I going to a place that is clean? Am I going to buy something locally from a boutique? Is it good quality? Is it falling apart? I need to know those things before I waste my time.
100%.
So take those reviews serious and make it right. It is so easy. I remember my mom taught me at a very young age, don't argue with your customers. Your customers are always right. And you have the power to change their mind. You have the power to change their mind. And it got to a point where when I would have a disgruntled customer, it would be like a challenge. And at the end, they would become my best friend. That is the goal. Don't argue with them. Find out what made them unhappy and solve the solution with them. That is the best feeling of making someone that wants to tear you down and burn your place down, making them your best friend.
Yeah, and there's and if you ever get a bad Yelp review, you can rebuttal it. Make sure you claim your business on Yelp. Mm-hmm. And I'll just throw in there real quick, if you haven't read How to Win Friends and Influence People, buy that book right this second. Mm-hmm. Go on your phone and buy the book. It's the most important book you'll ever read as an entrepreneur or a business person. It's the most important book you will ever read. I'll say it again. It's the most important book you will ever read.
Mm-hmm. Learn how to treat people. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, it talks about a challenge in there, challenging yourself to win people over and make them a fan of yours.
That's interesting.
Another thing, a loyalty program. Have a loyalty program. They used to use punch cards. Now there's more modern ways of doing it. There's actually apps. There's an app called 5-Star. I don't know if I think it's a number 5 and then written out STAR.
But a lot of places have their own apps too, which is smart.
Yeah, you can. I'm just saying this is a company that, will allow you to text message everybody who's a part of your program. Well, there's a downside though.
Right. There's many
there's a bunch of them out, but 5-Star's a great one. And it will, like when you can, what's so great about it is you have this customer list. And so all these people are signed up for your loyalty program. And that means, after you can set it all up. After their 10th purchase, they get this much. Or if they spend so much, they get this type of discount or free this or free that. you can set that all up in the app, but then you can also, if you decide you're going to do a big thing on Wednesday, a big super discount blowout or whatever, you can send that to every single one of the people that are on your list. Now, the downside to going out with these outside apps is most of them won't let you transfer your own list outside of their app.
Oh, dang.
So you can't send it anywhere.
Keep your emails and your phone numbers. No.
So be careful about that. So we always suggest also, if you're going to do a loyalty program, which is super important, not if you I can't think of very many businesses that couldn't have a loyalty program, but if you're a B2C business, a business to customer a business, you need to be doing a loyalty program.
So that's super important.
But you also, yes, and so I'll speak about that real quick. You got to have a list. You got to have a list. It allows you to market to people for free. After you've gained that customer, you spend all this money trying to bring somebody in. So let's say you took out a billboard and you said, I'm going to blow a bunch of money on a billboard.
Because we came from Vancouver, it's expensive. Well, it's not expensive.
Well, I've had tons
as
of
LA.
billboards. I've had hundreds of billboards with Top Out, but it's like, it's not, there's not the best return for your money, but it is a great awareness campaign.
It's a good local.
So if you have, that stuff is good, but at the end of the day, you spend all this money to get someone into your business. Now you have to be able to, how do you recontact them again? So many business owners, oh my gosh, nothing makes me more crazier. So many business owners, they spend all this money to get people in their doors, and then they have no way to contact them again. They just let them, they come up, let's say you're a coffee shop. I just keep going back to that because we owned a coffee shop, but a couple of them. And people come up to you and they want to buy something, and then you let them go, and you can never get in touch with them again. They're out the door. You'll never talk to that person again. You're hoping that they had a good experience, and you're hoping that they can come back. You can use your loyalty program or use a lead mag, give them something free, send out target them with an email or target them with an ad.
Remember that box of the business cards?
Oh yeah, exactly. Say, we need make sure your email's on there so we can contact you. And that's how you get a hold of them. That's how you can market to them. You need to get their email and their SMS. You need to figure out some way to do that. Give them a free, target them with an ad on Facebook. You were talking about ads on Facebook on here before.
I think we're going to go into claiming social media.
Yeah. So in other words, I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's super important. You got to get their email and their SMS. You need to be able to recontact these people so you're not spending all that money every single time you want to market. Anything else on social media that you want to tackle?
No, other than just claim your social media, be active, have little Instagram, whatever you want to push. Is it TikTok? Is it Instagram? Is it Facebook? Have that in your store so that they can click there. And even somehow incorporating the contests in there, having them shout you out in a story, a swipe up, whatever it may be. Just be creative. Again, anything is possible. Now, do you want to go into the ads, or do you want to, because I don't know how our...
Well, yeah, we're way over, but that's okay.
Okay.
Let's talk about ads a little bit. Facebook ads. What's so great about Facebook ads is you can target an area, which it means your local people, kind of like Yelp.
Well, one of the most important things is the brand awareness campaign. That is huge. Remember, brand awareness campaign. That is the biggest thing for Facebook right now. And you're literally spending just pennies to advertise to locals. And don't forget your visitors, okay? Because you want to market to the visitors as well. So it's called a brand awareness campaign, and you want to do that. Then the other thing I was going to add about Facebook, are you boosting posts? Because right now you're going to get a lot more eyes if you create that same ad that you boosted through your ads manager. So just create that same ad through ads manager, and you're going to get a lot more ads. And this stuff changes all the time. But right now, with the people that we collaborate with in business and are talking to about in business, it's pretty viral right now, and a lot of people know, and we had to learn too, is right now, don't do the boosted post, do the ad, create that same ad in Ads Manager.
If you're boosting posts, you're wasting money, and you just really
But keep testing it. Keep
I mean,
testing
you
it.
can,
It's
if you
different
want to
for
throw
everyone.
a few bucks at it, that's fine. But you need to dial down and target people. And just so you know, if you don't know this already, you can, through your ads manager and through boosting you can, but through your ads manager, you can really dial in and target just the people in your area. And if it was me personally, I would just target mobile users. So you can pick whether you want to target mobile users or laptop
Whatever's
users.
fitting
I
to your
think
business.
you should target mobile users. Now, you can choose whatever you want. It might depend on your business.
Follow your gut and have fun with it.
Yeah, so there's so much dial down and targeting. You might have an age group that you want to target. I know Facebook recently, a lot of people have been talking about let Facebook target people for you, and you might find something on YouTube about that. I know our marketing team has told us that, but I do know that if it's super important that you target a certain age group, you might want to put those parameters in. So if you're doing a thing that is super that's held dear to an older audience or something, like a 50 plus audience, then you might want to be targeting that 50 plus audience.
Yeah.
If it makes zero sense for an 18 to 25-year-old audience, then you want to make sure you push those people out of your targeting.
Yeah.
So that's important. So you can look into that, and there's tons of YouTube videos and that you can consult to dial that down if you're going to be doing that stuff yourself.
I think we're going to have to save the rest for another podcast because we have so much going on. But I
think quickly we can kind of go through it. Just, you don't have any other big initiatives. I think that's all the main stuff that you need to be talking about. We talked about ads on Yelp, ads on Facebook, making sure you're doing all the good old stuff. I think local flyers still work. You put out flyers, but use a QR code so that people can find you. You can use the QR code to take them straight to your Yelp if you want to, especially, or you're ordering, like Ildiko said earlier, if you're like taking orders online, you might want to send them straight to that app and straight to your page so people can go there and be able to order food. And it says order takeout right now. You get those if you can get those flyers to the right people. And then again, of course, giving stuff away. Don't expect people just to show up just because you're a restaurant or just because you're the best boutique in town. You got to tell them why you're the best. Show them why you're the best, and then give them a reason to come into the store.
Right, and have events too. I remember going to when I used to like to shop in brick and mortars for clothing. I would love to go to the events. They would shut the store down, and it would be Hervé Leger. This was in Beverly Hills, and different stores.
Yeah, do something special.
VCBG,
do a 1 year
they would close.
Anniversary. We used to do that for a nutrition shop,
but they
for the
also
coffee
had
shops.
like exclusive events where they would have a new line come out, and they would let you Christian Louboutin. And these are high-end brands, but I'm just saying, I remember
they would close it down for their premium customers,
the VIPs, the people that bought
and
a certain
even
amount
just
of
people
shoes
that
a
have
year.
bought stuff, because if you've been a customer there before, they make you feel important.
That's
you don't
right.
have to be a superstar. You're just like, oh, you bought here before? Well, you're a part of our VIP list, and because you're a previous customer.
Listen, I was special though. They would hold the shoes. Yeah. I remember I stole a pair of shoes from Christina Aguilera. I got them before she did. So listen.
I know, I've been in there with you. And lastly, I have to mention that the public relations just trying to do some PR. It's not. It's one of those things that it's not. It can be a huge needle mover, and then other times it could just be, might just fall on deaf ears. But if you can, there's local newspapers, there's local radio stations, there's local podcasts.
Stations.
If you can get these things, lots of times these things are free. If you can just say, hey, look, I'm a local restaurant here, I'm a business owner, and I'd love to be on your podcast.
Yeah.
I know you have a local podcast for the county or for the city. I'd love to be on your podcast. Is there a city newspaper that you can go on? I'm sorry to cut you off. Is there just real quick, because there's this, most cities, especially larger cities, have their own newspaper, and you can literally, even little cities have. I remember we were in this little city that this one newspaper company made newspapers for like 10 different little cities.
Right.
So they each had their own little newspaper. You can market just in that little newspaper because it's going to all the right businesses. And if you just, or not market, not necessarily just market, get an interview. That's free. Go in there and ask them, they'll interview you. You're a local business, they should interview you.
All I was going to say was add on to that. I mean, we took advantage of all those avenues, but it's not free. Make sure that you have a budget to do that. It is so worth it. It will cost you to take an ad out. And a lot of times, let's be honest, how do these people that don't have huge businesses, how are they on these bigger podcasts? It's because you get a hold of a PR agency, podcasting PR agency, and you pay them to get on a podcast. It costs money. Yes, it costs money, but it is worth it because especially if it's a local podcast in your area, it is worth it. You are going to get ears and eyes because a lot of podcasts are visual now. So that is so important. And also people that do not have a brick and mortar, even better. So spend that money to get on those podcasts. Nothing to be shy about. You have to pay for your placement. I mean, how many people do we see paying for Forbes articles and this and that? Come on, it costs money, yes, but you will be seen, and that's awesome.
And just real quick, lastly, I'll say that if you are a brick and mortar business and you are not like in food, well, food too, because you're doing delivery, but I would definitely suggest that you're doing selling maybe not internationally, but countrywide, nationwide, selling your products nationwide through your website, through places like eBay and Amazon, wherever you can find that you can sell your products. If you're like a boutique or whatever, try to push your products out that way, because then it's like you're selling in two different locations. One, you're selling online, and you have to find ways to market online. We'll do another podcast about that. That's a whole different type of marketing, but some of these things still apply. But then you're also selling locally. So it gives you two ways to sell. So lastly, I'll just say that. Make sure, you try different things. Just keep trying things.
Yes,
you got to A/B test
shy.
stuff. Try this, try that, see what works better. Make sure your heart's in the right place. This is something you really want to do because you're spending a lot of time and money investing in this. So make sure that your heart's in the right place if you're going to start something like this.
A brick and mortar is hard,
It is
the
hard.
failure rate is high.
It is high. I think it's like 70%, 70 to 80%.
You wrote it down. I wrote it down,
70
but I
to
can't
80%.
find it.
Yeah, it's 70 to 80%.
That's
70 to
insane.
80% of businesses fail in the first 10 years. That's not a great prognosis.
No, sometimes it's word of mouth. Sometimes it's what we had happen in the jewelry store. Something tragic happens. Sometimes it could be the death of a partner. Like, you've had that, or I've seen it on so many stores. Closed due to illness, closed due to death, closed due to this, closed due to that. These things happen, and it's a sad fact.
Well,
and sometimes, what about, what if this isn't for you? And what does Tony Robbins say? You are always as strong as your weakest link, your weakest employee. So always do the inventory on your partners, on your staff. You are only as strong as your weakest link. And if you've had to fire and rehire your staff millions of times or several times, maybe the problem isn't them, maybe the problem is you, and you need to work on yourself. So just really do the work in trying to find out where the hiccups are in your business. Be radically honest with yourself and just go figure out what is causing this problem.
Yep.
I mean, after the robbery, my mom wasn't as friendly, and neither was I, to customers because we were scared. Secretly, we were scared. We had this different energy. It could be a nice, as soon as a man walked in, could be the nicest man, but does he have a gun? Does he have a backpack? Does he have, all these thoughts are going through our mind, and it just just was different. And it was time to pivot. And guys, it's okay to pivot. It's okay to pivot.
You never know where life is going to take you.
Yeah.
Your purpose may be one thing one day and something else another. Maybe what you were supposed to learn on that endeavor, you've learned, and it's time to go a new direction. Believe me, that's happened to both of us, and we both know that.
In several different businesses.
So don't feel afraid if you've given everything and you know that you put everything you had into this and it didn't work out, but no, you put everything you had into it. That's why we wanted to do this podcast, because there's people out there that are failing, not because they aren't a great business.
I hate the word failure. It's an experience that you put everything into, and it is the most valuable lesson, because nothing is worse than regret. Nothing is worse than wondering, but what if I did do this business and your time has passed and you didn't do it? Nothing is worse and more painful than regret. So it's better to, as some people call it, fail or learn your lesson, and then you dive into something new. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Or just make sure if you're on that track, and I guess for lack of a better word, if it's not working, if things aren't working, maybe it's just because you're not implementing all these things we talked about right here.
And this is just
sometimes
a handful.
you just got there's more out there, but if you're really not giving 1,000% effort to do some of these things, and you're not implementing all this into your brick and mortar business, then no wonder it's not doing good. So you got to be careful where to put the blame. And if you're not doing this stuff, it's on you. So make sure you're putting in the work. Make sure you're doing the right things. Make sure that you're studying and analyzing and maybe bringing in experts if that's what you need to do. So anyways, thank you guys for tuning in to this podcast. We hope you guys got something for this podcast. If you know anybody who's got a brick and mortar business, I would send this to them. I would just send it to them because they need to hear this stuff. I'm telling you, it's so disappointing. After I, did these 3 consultations with these people who are running these brick and mortar businesses, I just felt so much like, how have you not been implementing all of these things? So if you know anybody that would be helped by this episode, be sure to share it with them.
Thank you for listening to the second episode of the Marketing Your Brick and Mortar Business. We had a great time, and don't forget to like and subscribe and stay connected. We're your community. You can lean into us. God bless and have an incredible week. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Pretty and Punk Podcast. Please subscribe. Thank you for listening. I hope that changed your life. God bless. See you next time.